This is probability distribution in a TI-84 calculator. We're going to be looking at the mean, variance, and standard deviation for discrete data sets like how many TVs are in this house and how many nieces and nephews do you have? Something that is countable. That's going to be your discrete data, and we will find the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation. Those who would benefit from a video like this are people who will be taking an assessment using a TI-84. And people who have already learned the math in class, but you just need to practice a calculator skill, and also people who want to pause and change the speed because sometimes I talk too fast. These are the things that we're going to be finding, and even though the notation is Greek and sometimes intimidating, we're going to be using the list menu, which is a glorified spreadsheet, to do a lot of the heavy lifting for us instead of doing things on the home screen. So we're going to speed things up. We are not going to be using a whole lot of that home screen. We're going to be doing most of our calculations in the list menu, and so the stat button. What we need is a probability, but sometimes we're only given a count like this. This is a frequency. This represents when grad students were asked how many books have you read in the last year. So we're going to use this frequency to find a probability. So let's get that data into the list menu. So we're going to go to Stat, Edit, 0, 6. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the right to get into my second list. 12, 39, 52, 21, 18, 14, and 29. Looks like I mistyped 21 up here. That should be 21. So 21, enter. 12 should be that one. Let's verify. All right. Since my L2 is my frequency or my count, and I really want a P of X, or the probability, I need that part out of the whole situation. So I'm going to go to the right. And now it'll default to a cell. I want it to do math. I want it to calculate something for me. So I'm going to go up one to the name. So the cursor should be on L3. And I'm going to tell it to divide my frequency by the total of all of that frequency. So that's going to be second and 2 for L2. That's where my frequency is. Divided by the sum. That's second. Stat for the list menu, go over to math. It's number 5. We're going to be using that sum a lot. That calculator function, that sum, is the same thing as your sigma that's going to be in your textbook of L2. So you see how we usually refer to the percentages, decimals, all these things. That's a part out of the whole. And so it's the part that is in an individual L2 cell divided by the total, the sum of all of L2. I'm going to hit enter. It fills all of those things in for me. My goal here is to find the mean, and that's going to be the sum of the product of x times p of x. And that means that what I really need, the reason I found the p, was because I really need x times p. So I'm going to put that in L4. So I'm going to go over here to L4. Then I'm going to go up to the name L4 because I don't want to be in an individual cell. And I want to multiply x times p, which means I'm going to multiply L1, so second one, times L3, second 3. And it fills in all of my x times p values. But the last thing that I need is the sum, which we've already figured out how to do that. But I'm going to go to my home screen since I don't need all the individual values. I want it to add up the grand total. So on my home screen, second mode will quit and go back to the home screen. Then I'm going to go to second, stat for list, go over to math, number 5, of, and we just put all that in L4. So sigma of x times p of x is the same thing as the sum of L4 on a calculator screen. Now I'm going to use this number, but I'm going to probably round it to 4 decimal places, so 2.8 2.8216 is what I will be using. Now stick with me because here's what we've done so far. We've done a whole lot of division and multiplication and addition, but we have done it in a list menu, which is a glorified spreadsheet. And that way we don't have to be on our home screen doing the same operation over and over and over and over again. We're going to allow a machine to do one operation a bunch of times for us. And we've done that so that we can find the mean, which we have already found. Now, the culmination here is we need to find the variance and then one quick step to find our standard deviation from there. And it's going to be a big calculation, and this is another reason we don't want to be on our home screen. So we're going to take this big calculation. It's going to mean the same as all these Greek letters and Latin letters put together. So I need the x minus mu, quantity squared, sometimes it's called the deviation squared, times the probability, and we're going to put that all in L5 so that we can take the sum of that easily. So we're going back into the stat menu to get to L5. So over to L5, go up to the name of L5 because I want to do a calculation. So I go to where the name is, not an individual cell, and I need to type in what I need. So this would be open paren x, and I put my x's in L1 minus the mu that we just found. We're going to type in 2.8216 close paren squared times our p-values, which are in L3. This means the same thing as what we're looking for that we're about to sum up. So I get all of this in here in L5, then I go back to my home screen, and then I, at second stat, go over to the math menu right here, sum of L5. And there is my variance. Now that we have our variance, we're just going to grab our standard deviation by taking a square root, second, and the root button, and I'm going to scroll up and grab that variance right there to let it fill in. Hit enter on that to fill that in. And there is your standard deviation. And textbooks often expect us to round these to one decimal place, which we will save for the very, very end. These are the rounded answers to one decimal place.